from a meeting with 700 business school deans from around the world, and this is the one topic everybody's talking about: how to prepare the graduates to be future ready. Everybody's looking at the World Economic Forum report, comes up every year, early in the year. It has been saying the same, that curriculums are traditional, are classical. They are not as quick in adapting to the market needs. And I always have a reservation on the word adapting, because I think adapting is just mimicking what already exists. We need to be more innovative, not just adapting. We have the adaptive attitude to what's there, but we need to be more creative and try to close the gap, if we can, with the private sector, because surely people from academia will surely understand what I'm going to say. We are slow. Academia is slow, much slower than business and industry. But we can't just sit there and watch the gap growing. Otherwise, our programs are obsolete. We need to be relevant and timely. Should we include those skills, whether soft skills, digital skills, all the line of much needed skills that the students should know, align them in the curriculum? Every faculty member will refuse that. Institutions will not be receptive to that. Couple the degrees with certificates. Will the students be encouraged to attend? Will they attend? Should it be credit bearing? Is it difficult? Not. Should it be an add-on? And these conversations are taking place everywhere, and we thought that having it as part of this year's conversation is of prime importance. In my view, experiential learning should not take place only in the classroom. It should be in the classroom, outside the campus, bringing industry to the classroom, but also taking the students to see what's happening out there. And to put it in a very short, sort of simple sentence, we need to practice what we preach as academics. That's what we keep on teaching our students, but we need to practice it first. We joke about it, but I always say that people talk about change, they push for change, they preach change, they encourage change, but they do not want to change. That's the nature of the beast. But we need to have this conversation going on. And with that, I'll pass the floor to my colleague, the chair of the session, and I welcome you again on behalf of Onsi Sawiri School of Business. Thank you.
Thank you, Dean Kamel. Good afternoon and welcome to the third roundtable of the 2025 AUC Business Forum, Experiential Learning and Future-Proofing Graduates of Business Schools. My name is Ahmed Abdelmajid. I'm a professor of accounting at the Onsi Sawiri School of Business and the associate provost for enrollment management at the American University in Cairo. It's really a great pleasure to be moderating this roundtable, especially that it comes in this is the sixth edition, as Dean Kamel mentioned, but also is the first since the historic naming of the school. We constantly hear the phrase narrowing the gap between academia and practice, as the Dean just mentioned, and today's business schools are faced with the real challenge of staying relevant and impactful. But the speed at which the market is changing is unprecedented. This is coupled with the fact that by structural design, academic institutions are relatively slow to pivot. In any institution, it typically takes not less than one year to make a major change in a program in response to market changes, in an attempt to bring the classroom closer to the market. Another more effective approach is to bring the market closer to the classroom through experiential learning or simply learning by doing. There's a wide spectrum of experiential learning tools, and we're going to discuss many of those today. And the choice of the right mix depends on the context, mission and vision of the business school, resources, and other factors. But it's never one size fits all. The one necessary element is the greater focus on skills, given that skills have a longer shelf life than the technical content and are more immune to obsolescence. In terms of the Onsi Sawiri School of Business, it's fair to say that experiential learning is really infused in the DNA of the school through the use of cases, guest speakers, competitions, consulting-like projects, and field trips, internships, and our flagship, the co-op program. On this note, a couple of days ago, as many of you actually might know, AUC Sawiya School of Business, the team won the first place in the Egypt CFA Society 24-25 CFA Local Research Challenge competition, and will move to the regional competition for the second year in a row. And this is really a true testament to the consistent and deliberate efforts of the school to bring students closer to the market. Given the very nature of this roundtable, as you look around, you'll find that we invite a very diverse group of participants, and definitely this will enrich our conversation. We will start off with our two keynote speakers who will provide both the academic and the practitioner's perspective of experiential learning. We have Dr. Kelly Richmond Pope, who is the Dr. Barry J. Epstein Endowed Professor of Forensic Accounting at DePaul University in Chicago, Illinois. Dr. Pope is a nationally recognized expert in risk, forensic accounting, and white-collar crime research, and is an award-winning educator, researcher, author, and award-winning documentary filmmaker. She teaches managerial and forensic accounting both at the undergraduate and graduate levels. We also have with us Dr. Samar Sayer, PwC partner and PwC Academy Middle East leader. She leads the PwC Middle East, which is the largest academy in the PwC's global network. She brings over 25 years of experience spearheading the workforce transformation agenda and building organizational capabilities at scale. A visionary leader, Ms. Sayer's expertise lies in enabling governments and organizations, workforce to adapt to the demands of the global megatrends and rapid technological evolution and preparing for the future today. This will be followed by 2 to 3 minutes interventions by the participants. The conversation will be divided into 3 main segments, and actually the sequence of seating has a logic of these interventions. The first segment is discussing the various forms and trends of experiential learning from the perspective of the faculty teaching, student development, and employer quest for talent. The second segment will focus on how AI, tech, and experiential learning affect each other, and on how this relationship could yield better learning experiences and better digital preparedness. And the last segment is the role of experiential learning in preparing business schools graduates for the job market. We will then conclude with closing remarks by my colleague Maha Muslimani, Senior Director of the Career Center at AUC. So let's start the conversation with Dr. Pope.
Thank you so much for the introduction. I am very excited to be here. So I am covering the section on experiential learning. So I want to ask everyone to make sure you are logged on and you have Wi-Fi access. We can't do a session about experiential learning without doing something. So there's going to be just a little surprise for us. So if you're not logged on, please make sure that you are logged on as a guest to the AUC Wi-Fi, okay? Okay, so I want to start off. I was here yesterday, and I'm an accounting professor at DePaul University. And for some reason yesterday, when Liz started off her remarks, and she said that she could talk about accounting all day, the whole room started laughing. Like, oh my goodness, how could she love accounting so much? And I see some smiles and some chuckles beside me, and I was just sitting there thinking, why isn't accounting fascinating to everyone? And so I sat there and I thought about myself, and sometimes I feel like I'm the biggest accounting cheerleader because I took my first accounting class in high school. And it was so memorable for me because it was an experiential learning experience. I even remember the name of my high school teacher, Mrs. Farrell. And we had a practice set, and we felt like we were real accountants in the classroom. And so that is really what transformed me into loving accounting by this experiential learning approach. So I just want to say that everyone in this room loves accounting. You just might not know it yet, but you actually do. But I was really fortunate enough to have really outstanding educators in accounting, and that really is what inspired me. But one thing we do know is accounting is a foundation of every business, every industry, wherever you go. So we all are lovers of accounting. But I think the chuckles yesterday really speaks to the problems that we have in accounting education and perhaps in business education. And that is we have a disconnect between theory and engagement in the classroom. And so I think that's where experiential learning actually comes into play because it gives us that real world application. I think professors are often challenged with bridging this gap because oftentimes textbooks and case studies sometimes lack the immersive experience that make learning rich, and sometimes using textbooks in traditional cases, it makes it harder to close that gap. So again, experiential learning really helps that. Now, I don't know about the other educators that are in the room, but my students don't read their textbooks. And if you have those same experiences, I think we have to figure out what are we going to do in order to fix that. I think everything starts in the classroom. All the changes that we need to make really start with the classroom, and that means it starts with faculty. So I believe that experiential learning is the answer, but before I talk any more about that, I want to talk about the demographics of learners today. They are older, busier, more racially and culturally diverse, and more financially strained. Now, when we think about the typical college student, we sometimes think that they are between the ages of 18 to 21, fresh out of high school, going into their first year of college, taking full-time classes, but that is no longer true. 18 to 21-year-olds now make up just 1/3 of the college population. So again, they're older and they're balancing multiple commitments. So as educators, how do we bridge that gap? What do we bring into the classroom? 35% are 25 years or older, and 50% are first-generation college students. Now, at DePaul University, where I teach, most of our students are first-generation college students. Now, research also shows that today's college lecture should be between 10 and 15 minutes. Now, even more shocking, the average attention span of any human has decreased from 12 seconds to 8.5 seconds over the last 2 decades. Now, everyone's still listening, so that's good. That's good. Now, something even more shocking, the average person, probably nobody here, but the average person, let's say the average learner, checks their phone 58 times per day. So therefore, that even lessens the attention span. Then multitasking even reduces that attention span up to 40%. So given these characteristics, change has to start in the classroom and with really faculty leading that change. So what do we do? So I want to share with you today what I did and how I approached my classroom when I think about all these characteristics and what really just shaped the way that I approached what I was doing in the classroom. I often noticed how my colleagues were approaching the classroom, and I really didn't want to be like them. So I stepped out of a traditional accounting education method, and I became 2 things. I became a storyteller and an investigative game designer, and I'm going to talk about each of them. When I say a storyteller, what I mean by that is I decided to become a documentary filmmaker, and I directed and produced a documentary about the largest municipal fraud in U.S. history. And this is probably something that you wouldn't think an accounting professor would say, but that's what happened. Although my film is an accounting story, viewers of the documentary see so many different topics. They see ethics, they see auditing, banking and finance, leadership, human resources, and all these different storylines live in this film. And what this does is it speaks to the power of storytelling. I use my documentary as a powerful teaching tool that bridges the missing gap between business theory and student classroom engagement. Now, the film is practical, has lots of practical implications, and it integrates both business concepts, and it's just a great film. But of course, I would say that. But one of the things I noticed as I was going around the country screening the film, I noticed something very interesting with the various audiences I would interact with. They would watch the film, and then they wanted to do something. They watched it and they wanted to investigate something. They wanted to either go back to their organizations, back to their communities, and start asking questions. So I started to think to myself, what could I do that could create an experiential learning experience where I give the student the beginning and the middle, and they solve the end? And so this is how my Red Flag Mania, which we'll talk about in a second, was born. And today with me at the forum is my Red Flag Mania business partner. She's sitting right across from me, Ronnie Jackson, because I'm a traditional accounting educator, accounting researcher, and I knew that I needed help. I wanted to be different, I wanted to change, so I had to get the help of an experiential marketing expert to really merge what was my passion and her passion. And so Red Flag Mania was born. So before I get into that, we're going to do a quick activity. So everyone should have a paper in front of them with a QR code. So please take your phones out, turn your camera on, and I'll give you a quick instruction. when you do the QR code, you can turn your phone to landscape, and I'll give you about 5 seconds for everybody to get going and get their phone situated. Don't start yet. I'm watching you. Okay, is everybody there? Okay, so I'm gonna give you 2 minutes, and your instruction is see how many red flags you can find in 2 minutes, okay? When you see the flag on your phone, just hit it, just touch it if you think it's a flag, and you have 2 minutes to see how many you can find. Need your glasses. Now, it works better if you have your phone landscape, just so you know, just a piece of advice. About 41 seconds left. Okay, that's time. All right. How many, at the top you see your red flags were counting down. Who has just 5 remaining flags at the top? You have 6? Anybody else at 6? So anybody have 5? No one has 5? We have 3 people with 6? You have lower, you have 4? 2? Liz. Liz. Liz has an iPad. Okay, so you have 2 left? Okay, so we have Liz is one of our, do we have anybody that found all the flags? Okay, so we have Liz, and anybody have 3 flags? 4 flags. How many? There were 22 at the beginning. Okay, so anybody have 5 flags? Okay, so 2. All right, so see me after. I have a prize for you. We have a tiebreaker. We'll have to ask you a bonus question. But this is what experiential learning. You see the smiles, you see the energy. We had to do something because that's what our session is about. So Liz, and I'll see both of you after. We have a small prize for you. I'll tell you what it is later. Anyway, we'll go back to the topic. So as I said, this is what we do in experiential learning. We create games. So my partner Ronnie and I got together about 5 years ago, and we said we wanted to change the way students approach the classroom. We really wanted to increase classroom engagement. So we partnered to create a really dynamic experiential learning experience for students. So again, we wanted to solve that lack of engagement. And we really feel like what we do with Red Flag Mania is it helps students develop critical thinking skills, problem-solving skills that they need to be successful in today's business. And research shows that students are eager to engage in real-world scenarios and excited about opportunities to integrate new technologies. What we think we do with Red Flag Mania is the 3 Ps. Students have passion, they show preparedness, and they have purpose. And so Red Flag Mania, this platform that we created, is a multimedia learning experience, a game-based multimedia learning experience. And so what we do is we use true crime stories to teach various business topics in accounting, auditing, forensic accounting, leadership, tax, ethics, computer science, nursing, cybersecurity, project management, but all through the idea of true crime stories. We wanted to create a high quality, high engagement, low cost product that made students want to love learning. And in other words, they show their passion when they're doing it. Just like you sort of had showed your passion with finding the flags. You were really trying to find those flags. So how this works is the activity begins with a short film. So as I opened, I'm a filmmaker, Ronnie is also a filmmaker, so we used our filmmaking skills to really put into the classroom to create just that engaging experience and almost give them something that's really unexpected. Because when you walk into an accounting class, we'll use that as an example, you don't expect to watch a film. You don't expect to watch a documentary, so you do. So you watch this film that details a real-world fraud case and introduces the students to a variety of characters as they sort through pieces of evidence to determine who is responsible for committing the fraud. As students proceed through the Red Flag Mania activities, the game provides video testimonies, interactive documents, and descriptive profiles that enable them to create visual representations of knowledge that they can then integrate with previous knowledge. The sorting through the documents gives them a simulated example of a real-world investigation that allows them to then be prepared for their future job or their internship or their co-op. So some of the key characteristics: it increases engagement, it promotes active learning, it promotes critical thinking, analytical skills, and really enhances ethical decision-making. When we train interns, employees appreciate that their students can get a hands-on real-world experience before they start engaging with a real client, so they can practice on going through documents, interaction before they deal with that client. Because the goal is to solve a crime, the students leave the activity feeling like their work has true meaning and purpose. They don't feel like they've been given busy work, and they feel as though their voice matters and their decision-making process has been heard. Now, we currently have about 50,000 users, and by the end of 2026, we'll have about 100,000 users. But guess what our biggest challenge is? It's the faculty. Not the students, because the students love what they're doing. It's the faculty. Many faculty are resistant to change because we are balancing research, teaching, and service to our institutions. Often, our teaching suffers, which means that we're often in the classroom suffers. And as many of my colleagues are outstanding research scholars, we haven't always been trained how to teach. We often step into a classroom with little understanding of how learning actually works. I remember when I earned my PhD and taught my first class, I was given a syllabus and a book and just taught, hopefully you can just figure it out. I did not think about the learning process, and that tends to be the problem. Where traditional case studies provide students with an opportunity to consider an ethical dilemma, digital technologies enable students to explore a broader range of actions and participants' perspectives through gamified interaction. So I want to share with you a few comments, and these are comments from an accounting class. I like how you had to do the investigation, but that it kept you engaged as well, not boring at all. This was so much fun. It felt like a real-world scenario with videos, documentation, and follow-up questions to get you thinking about the idea of detecting fraud. These are from students, unsolicited. They weren't forced to do this. They were sent a survey and decided to do this. I enjoyed the interactive Red Flag Mania experience. I also liked how the document examination portion felt like I had real documents laid out in front of me. Felt like I was working a real case. And again, this is from an accounting class. Thank you.
Thank you, Kelly, very much.
Thank you for inviting me here today. Looking around the room, we have professors who are shaping minds, business leaders who are shaping industries, and students who will shape our future. And this is what I'm going to talk to you about today. In my role, I have the privilege of working closely with the clients and professionals who are committed at shaping the leaders of today and tomorrow. We witness both the incredible potential and the very real challenges for tomorrow's business world. So what does the future of work look like? Last month, in the World Economic Forum, there was a report that was released on the future of jobs. And the numbers are eye-opening. They are predicting that by 2030, not that far away, we'll see 170 million new types of jobs emerge. And 92 million current jobs may be displaced. Think about that for a moment. We're preparing people all the way from graduates to senior leaders for roles that don't even exist. The fastest growing roles are technology-focused, big data specialists, fintech engineers, AI and machine learning specialists. We're also seeing significant growth in green economy jobs like environmental engineers, renewable energy engineers. And sometime that might surprise you, especially given the debate around AI and humans, frontline roles like sales professionals and care economy, jobs such as healthcare and education are expected to see substantial growth. At the same time, we're seeing a shift away from traditional administrative roles. Jobs like bank tellers, data entry clerks, and administrative assistants are expected to decline. The bottom line, the future of work is re-engineered, restructured, and redesigned. And the future workforce and the skills they require must be redefined in line. Let's zero in on the skills. According to PwC research, about 39% of core skills of current jobs will need to be transformed by 2030. What do you think the most in-demand skill is? The analytical thinking. This is followed by resilience, flexibility, and agility, along with leadership and social influence. So that brings me to the question, what are the key challenges in preparing for the future of work? What are we addressing as a firm and as business leaders and academic people? There is a challenge trifecta facing the workforce of the future. First, the skills gap between graduates and the demand of the modern workplace. Second, the disruption of AI and technology in reshaping and creating skills shortages. The expectation of Gen Z, it's a generation that learns differently and has a different expectation from the workplace. Each of these challenges is real and critical, and it's in the hands of leaders such as us, seated around this table, to address them and shape the future. Let's reflect on these in turn. Skills gap between graduates and demands of the modern workplace. And here I will allow me to share an example from PwC, where we work with clients and see every day the recent graduates, they come to us brilliant, full of theoretical knowledge, ready to conquer the world, but the reality is the workplace needs the skills that often weren't covered in their textbooks and projects. While many of them have done internships and projects as part of their curriculum, their industry knowledge is still not yet there. Forward-looking and visionary organizations strategically invest in the development of these graduates. Through experiential learning and dedicated graduate development projects, they help them build a human, technical, and digital skills. It's heartening to see the increased strategic investment in this, both in the public and private sector. And to give also some examples, just over the past 5 years, we at PwC have upskilled more than 3,000 graduates across the region and across different industries and sectors. Public sector, finance, telecom, real estate, aviation, just to name a few. We partnered with government entities to support the development of young GCC graduates to prepare them for the workplace in UAE, KSA, and across the GCC. This could be in tax, finance, HR, project management, and again, multidisciplinary. But I will pause here and ask the question, in the talent development ecosystem, where does the responsibility lie to bridge the skill gap? A report by Conferi indicates that by 2030, the global talent shortage will result in $8.5 trillion unrealized annual revenues. There are significant economic consequences of this skills gap. And it is a shared responsibility of business schools, higher education institutions, and the industry leaders to collaborate better to prepare graduates for the demands of the modern workplace. What helps is that we have an eager talent and dynamic workforce that is primed to learn. In fact, one of the key factors in driving job satisfaction for Gen Z and millennials is the opportunity to learn and invest in their development. Our research shows that young professionals who combine their academic knowledge with hands-on experience are twice as likely to thrive in their career. They are not just earning more money, 90% report feeling well compensated, but more importantly, 80% find genuine fulfillment in their work. This brings me to the next factor in the challenge trifecta, and this is the disruption of AI and technologies in reshaping jobs and creating skill shortages. Technology disruption is real. We are living in the age of transformation, and CEOs consider this a real threat to their business in the short term and acknowledge that there is an urgent need to reinvent their businesses. More than half of the CEOs in Egypt and over 60% regionally believe they need to reinvent their businesses to remain relevant in the next decade or so. Despite the challenges posed by the evolving economy and geopolitical uncertainties and global sentiments, here in the Middle East, we're in a unique position. While the global economy is slowing down, our region is transforming rapidly. Egypt's Vision 2030, the GCC's ambitious plan, they are not just government strategies. They are creating real opportunities, and they are also raising the bar on the skills needed to succeed. Business leaders are driving reinvention through strategic AI adoption, addressing the skills shortages, and tackling climate challenges. While this is a wider conversation, let's zoom in our lens on the impact AI is creating on the workforce of the future. PwC's Middle East Workforce Survey, CEO survey, highlighted that 87% of CEOs across the region and 72% CEOs in Egypt intend to integrate AI in their workforce and skills strategies within the next 3 years. We're also seeing young professionals, especially this generation, leading the way in adopting new technologies. They are already far more comfortable with AI and digital tools than many seasoned professionals. That's a huge advantage, but only if you know how to combine it with other critical skills. In fact, our survey shows that 63% of professionals in our region expect AI and robotics to reshape their roles in the next 3 years. The confidence in these technologies is high, and 70% of GCC CEOs see AI driving near-term profitability, and 36% of our regional business leaders are already seeing AI create new jobs, more than double the global average. Hence, we must leverage this impact of AI into the fabric of education. Embed AI literacy in core business curriculum. AI should not be an elective. It should be integrated in finance, HR, strategy, and marketing courses. Most professional bodies we work with either have AI modules in their curricula or full AI courses. Digital is not an add-on. It's the core learning. We should encourage an AI-first mindset. AI is not just for engineers and data scientists. There should be cross-disciplinary AI learning across different departments. This can be through case studies, capstone projects, sandboxes, boot camps, simulations, hackathons, and many more. Again, an example from our firm, PwC, we include real-world case studies where students work with the generative AI tools to solve business challenges, understanding not just how to use the technology, but how to assess its limitations, ethical implications, and strategic potential. We integrate hackathons in our learning journeys and engage in impact-driven learning through capstone projects that can be implemented in the workplace. We run AI leadership simulations that help professionals learn how to make ethical decisions. We should leverage corporate academia partnerships, help the graduate future-proof their jobs by co-designing and co-creating AI-driven curricula. These can be boot camps, simulated internships, micro-credentials, or certifications. AI mentorship programs can go a long way in helping bridge the skills gap and preparing graduates for a new unexplored careers that they may not necessarily understand. On that note, I want now to reflect on the third challenge of the trifecta. What does this workforce need? The expectations of Gen Z, a generation, as we said, that learns differently, is clear. They are rewriting the roles of work. This generation doesn't just seek jobs, they seek purpose and impact and continuous learning. They are the first truly digital native workforce, shaped by a world of constant change, hyperconnectivity, and evolving workplace norms. At PwC, we work with thousands of young professionals across the region, and we see these shifting expectations firsthand. Gen Z is not just looking for stability, they are looking for agility. They want to be equipped with the skills that will help them stay relevant in an uncertain future. What we're seeing is a fundamental shift in how we need to prepare talent for the future. It's not just about acquiring new technical skills, though those are certainly important. It's about creating learning experiences that mirror the complexity and dynamism of the workplace. So what does this mean for business schools and industry leaders? It means that traditional learning models, where knowledge is acquired in classrooms and applied years later in the workplace, are no longer enough. Learning must be continuous, immersive, and experiential. We should teach Gen Z the way they like to learn. That means on-demand, micro-learning, bite-sized learning through digital platforms, podcasts, interactive content, and AI-driven personalized learning. We should focus more on experiential learning to complement theory. The days of memorizing concepts are gone, long gone. It's all about application through real-time projects, simulations and internships, collaborations, and peer learning. This is a generation that thrives on teamwork, co-creation, and social learning. They prefer real-world problem solving with diverse teams. Integrating such a learning ecosystem will do wonders to their capabilities at the workplace. AI and digital fluency as a baseline, I would say that AI and digital fluency is fast becoming a selection criterion in the workplace. Business graduates must learn these skills to give themselves an edge at a running start. We also need to collaborate to offer career mobility, co-create career development pathways that allow Gen Z employees to switch roles, upskill rapidly, and move across industries. This can be supplemented with integrated AI-powered career planning tools that will help them navigate evolving job markets. Final thoughts, the future of work and the call to action. First, I would like to say that Gen Z is not the workforce of tomorrow, they are the workforce of today. If we fail to align our education and workforce learning models with their expectations, we risk losing engagement, productivity, and innovation potential. The traditional models of learning must change to address the needs of the future workforce and to adapt to the learning environment of the next-gen workforce. This requires a cohesive, collaborative effort of the industry and academic community. Business schools and industry leaders must collaborate to redesign learning models. The most valuable graduates in the workforce of the future will not just have knowledge and degrees, they will have technical, human, and digital skills, of which AI will likely feature high, top of the list. Also, as industry leaders and academic leaders, it's our job and commitment to create that ecosystem that prepares the workforce of tomorrow to thrive and flourish in the jobs of the future. In this context, I'm particularly optimistic about the region's potential to lead in this space. We have the right combination of young, dynamic talent, technological infrastructure, and innovative mindset to educate our Gen Z. And by embracing experiential, AI-integrated, and purpose-driven learning models, we can not only meet the expectation of the Gen Z, but also prepare them to be architects of the workforce of the future. There has never been a better time as an educator or as an industry leader to truly make a difference and create long-lasting impact that will affect generations ahead of us. Thank you.
Thank you, Summer, for these insights. So now we've heard both sides or both perspective of experiential learning from the academic side, and actually a lot of the part when they're actually engaging students, making learning actually fun, even if it's accounting. No, I'm with you, okay? And also the fact, and this will be reflected through the conversations also, the fact that some of the impediments to these experiential learning actually are the faculty, and we'll hear from our colleagues here on that. From the practitioner perspective, of course, the focus on Gen Z and that they're the workforce of today and not even the future, and that they seek the sense of purpose and continuous learning. So with that, and I also I like the part of collaboration between the business schools and industry, and we'll see from the discussions, I think that will be reflected. And actually this forum itself is a testament to that collaboration. So moving to the first set of the discussion from the participants. So the different forms of experiential learning, and as I mentioned, that it's never one size fits all, different forms, different types, and whatever actually will work for one institution may not work for the other. So we'd like to hear from our participants, our first group of participants who have actually professors and current or recent graduates of the School of Business, and also from the Center of Learning and Teaching, and of course from employers. So want to hear about your reflections about the different types and trends in experiential learning, and how does this work exactly?
First of all, thank you very much, Ahmed, for inviting me and inviting the students. And I'm very happy to actually have 3 economists as the first speakers on this. And actually, what we have on this side of the table are the partners that actually work on closing the loop. So we have to start with the students, and particularly the recent graduates. Those are the ones who just left the walls of the campus and started experiencing the market, and they're the ones who are able to identify what gaps they have. And this is the very first step in trying to understand how to redesign our curriculum in order to address these gaps of the future generations. If we were saying that the current generation have a very short attention span, I'm expecting what the coming generations would have as attention spans with all the short videos and the short reels on Instagram and YouTube and so on. We're expecting a generation with a much shorter, and TikTok, with much shorter attention span. So even though we think academia is slow in responding, but we need to be taking the very first step in strategizing and thinking, how should we take this into consideration as we redesign the way we teach? So it's not the content of the curriculum, it's not what's happening inside the classroom, it's more of how are we teaching them to be adaptable? How are we teaching them to have a positive attitude to learning? And this is what we're looking for. I'm not looking for them to graduate having all the knowledge, I'm looking for them to graduate to know how to find the knowledge. This is why we're seeing that. And I always say this sentence, that teaching happens inside the classroom, but learning happens outside the classroom. Of the different forms, and this is the particular question that I'm trying to address, of the different forms of experiential learning that we have, it starts very simply from guest speakers. So capitalizing on your networks, capitalizing on the partners that you have, and bringing speakers to the classroom that they share their experiences. But this has mostly been, for some time, the most traditional forms of experiential learning. What else can we do? So now we see a lot of professors rely on case studies, on simulations, on projects. The question is always how to design this and how to get them to see what we want them to see out of this experience. So another form of experiential learning that I'm seeing is booming and is adding a lot of value to the students' learning experience is community-based learning, for example. So taking the students outside the classroom, not only for them to learn about the communities where they're going to be part of after they graduate, but to teach them how to observe things and how to look for knowledge with their own eyes, how to have a critical eye that sees things and translate this into knowledge inside their minds that they can reflect on. So I'm seeing community-based learning as a form of experiential learning that adds a lot and is transformative for the students. Internships and structured internships are also very important. And I close with the co-op, and I know some of the students we have here have been graduates of the co-op program, and they're going to reflect on their experience. But actually having this experience, receiving the students back after the co-op, and allowing us some time when they're still with us to complement any skill gaps that they have noticed, I think is an excellent opportunity for them. Thank you.
Thank you, Dina. Now let's move on to the student perspective. Mariam.
Good afternoon, everyone. It's an absolute pleasure and honor to be part of this roundtable discussion, and looking forward to the fruitful discussion that is yet to come. And thank you for all the insights the panel has been showing us. So I'm currently, I graduated from economics. I'm currently doing my master's in finance here at AUC, and I'm a campus ambassador and an incoming associate consultant for MasterCard. So I cannot talk about experiential learning without shedding light on the co-op program, because as the professors have been mentioning about the in-class experience, we need to focus more on the outside experience, since Dr. Ahmed was saying that we need to bring the workplace closer to the classroom. So as a co-op alumnus, I think this is the most impactful experience I've had during my undergraduate years at AUC, for multiple reasons, and I need to put the co-op as a separate part from the winter and the summer internships for many, many reasons. I think the first reason is because the duration matters. You're staying with an employer for 6 month period, and this is very, very holistic, and it gives you an exposure, not just a small amount or a period of time. We're staying for 4 or 6 months. No, you're staying for a much longer period of time. The second thing is that the investment made by the employer or made by the direct manager that you're staying with for the 6 months, they are giving you macro and micro details about the business. You're not just there for 4 months and then you're leaving. So having this exposure at a young age and going back to academia is not applicable after you graduate, because after you graduate, you're done, you have a full-time job, go experience the market. But having this fresh eye before you graduate is what makes you aware of you as a person, of you as a professional caliber. What do I need to work on? Do I need to work on specific skills given by the feedback that I receive from the employer? Or do I need to work on my communication skills? How do I communicate with different people and different hierarchies within the corporate or within the company you're working for in the co-op? Another important thing is the skills acquired, because you learn how to communicate effectively, you learn how to present your deliverables. Comparing myself before the co-op and after the co-op, you see how you can deliver yourself, how can you present yourself in the best way possible, how can you present your deliverables and communicate with the different departments, and being able to be concise and selective and having a holistic overview of what you're actually presenting. And most importantly, it paves the way for what's yet to come, because I then had another experience that turned into a full-time role before I even graduate at MasterCard. And it makes you again see which career trajectory do you want to pursue. Do you want to work in an FMCG? Do you want to work in consulting, investment banking, and so on? So again, you graduate from a business school, but it's not necessarily that I graduate from finance, I work as an investment banker, or I graduate from accounting, I have to be an auditor, and so on. So seeing the right career trajectory before you graduate is very, very important. And I want to conclude what I've said with the fact that from my eyes now, I see that the co-op is a mandatory thing. I don't see it now as a luxury. Or okay, let's go and see how is the market and then go back to academia. This whole concept is now mandatory. It's not a luxury. Thank you, Dr. Ahmed, for founding the co-op.
Thank you, Mariam. Thank you, Mariam. Thank you very much. We also have Farida, and Farida also currently works in the central bank, where she had her co-op experience. So please, Farida, reflect on that.
First of all, thank you, Dr. Ahmed, for inviting me today. It's working? Okay, so it's always a pleasure to be back at my second home and to be among bright-minded and talented individuals like the ones we have today. So reflecting on my journey, my co-op experience felt like a simulation of the real job market, where I was able to put my knowledge and skills to the test at a very safe and supportive environment. One of the biggest challenges graduates face is adapting to the workplace. However, because I already worked at the central bank prior to graduating, I was very familiar with its culture, workflow, expectations, and I was able to build work connections with professionals who later became my colleagues and my mentors. So this meant that when I transitioned into my full-time role, I didn't have to start from scratch. The co-op experience was also a journey of self-awareness. I was able to pinpoint the areas I needed to develop and the knowledge I needed to acquire to become a stronger candidate. Knowing this, I intentionally selected courses in advanced econometrics and in management and government when I came back for my final semester here at AUC, and I knew these would complement my future role. Additionally, I worked on improving my spoken, written, and Arabic skills after I recognized they're very important for the policy-making process here in Egypt. Another invaluable aspect of the co-op was going through the entire hiring process, which gave me exposure to common technical and behavioral skills, questions, and the ideal way of answering them. So when it came for my actual hiring process, I was more well-equipped and more confident. And from the employment perspective, I would like to say that I became part of the team from day one as I represented the CBE in various international conferences held by the IMF, the BIS, the IFC, in countries ranging from Kenya to Switzerland. So it has been a ride. Also, I've engaged in various discussions and meetings with the IMF, foreign investments, etc. And this honestly has been one of the best experiences I've ever witnessed, which is the co-op program. And honestly, 3 years ago, I never would have imagined experiencing real-life policy making early on in my career. But I would like to say I owe it to my professors and to the co-op program for giving me a head start to my career. Thank you.
Thank you, Farida, very much. As Kelly mentioned, that it all starts with the faculty, and faculty need support in how they develop their courses and engage, introducing experiential learning in their courses. So let us hear from Reham from our Center of Learning and Teaching. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Ahmed, and thank you for the invitation. Of course, I'm really inspired by what I heard so far. And I'm not going to repeat again like some of the things and the examples that was mentioned. But by research and when we talk to students, one of the things that they always mention is that they want to be engaged in the classroom. And engagement is a core value of experiential learning. So we always want, and we work with faculty on like kind of aligning competencies with the learning. So it's very important, as you mentioned, like the skills that they learn within the class is not only about the content or the knowledge that our faculty provide, but also what type of skills. And aligning those skills or the competencies that we want them in class to learn with what's going to happen outside. A lot of the times, students want to see a simulation of what's happening outside before they actually graduate and face the world. So one of the things, as Dr. Dina also mentioned, the community-based learning, there's also the framework of design thinking that we always work with faculty, whether this is through community-based learning, through challenge-based learning. And having people from the industry is very interesting because one of the factors that we always work with faculty on, for example, is to bring in industry partners into the classrooms. And it's not only about guest speakers who come into the class, but also connecting students to be able to reflect as to what they learned from that guest speaker and how they can implement that and use the skills that they learned within the classroom. And going outside the classroom and learning and investigating and interviewing and field visits, all that has to be later on reflected through the students and making that connection between what they have seen outside and what they're learning in class and how they can benefit individually and in a group as well. And I think that engaging students with real-life application is a core value that we try to promote with the faculty, and we try to support them whether through pedagogical consultation and also workshops and things that can help them find collaborators within the university. We have the Career Center, we have different departments that we work with, and interdisciplinarity also within courses is crucial with experiential learning as well.
Thank you very much, Reham. Moving back to one of our recent graduates, so started making a big impact in the industry, Amina Khidr.
Thank you, Dr. Ahmed. It's a pleasure to be here around you all. I'm currently an e-commerce manager at Procter & Gamble, so I could relate a lot to how dynamic the market is changing and how what we learned in class is becoming very different to what we're actually experiencing in the workplace due to AI and a lot of changes. So throughout my university years, I was a part of co-curricular activities, mainly leading a community development club called مشروع خير. And I think throughout the 4 years, what I learned a lot was interpersonal skills, mainly being very dynamic and agile and communicating very effectively. And I could feel a very big difference from the moment I started interviewing to different companies, because I had a lot to share, a lot about how different experiences shaped me and shaped how I think, whether it is having critical thinking or analyzing things and being on top of everything you do. And I think that within P&G, this helped me a lot because I was able to participate in a lot of different forums with top management. And these skills I learned within my experience at university, because we dealt with internal and external stakeholders. So you had to learn a lot about how to send your message effectively and communicate effectively with the different environments you're in. And recently at P&G, I participated in a global competition, and I had the honor to represent P&G Egypt and win. And I think I owe this a lot to AUC and to the interpersonal skills I learned, because skills never go obsolete. You learn a lot about how to be agile, responding to different situations, and thinking out of the box or in creative ways. And I think the knowledge we learn in class is very different to the experiences, but the experiences build you and shape you and help you participate in different activities, whether it's in university or it's in the workplace. And this helped ease a lot my integration within the workplace and helped me win the competition I participated in. And I think it goes back to the idea that the activities we learn and we do at AUC are co-curricular, not just extracurricular. And I think it is something that should be more mandatory and to have all students experience this, because it really prepares you to a seamless integration within the workplace. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Amina. So I think we heard, I think it was Kelly that talked about sense of purpose for our graduates. So moving to Hiba Fadil, who could actually reflect more on experiential learning and the social enterprise. Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Dr. Ahmed. First, I want to say that I'm very privileged to be sitting on this side with all the young graduates and the students. Makes me feel young, and I'm a proud graduate of the school, but that was 25 years ago, and it's always lovely to be here back home. And actually, before I reflect on your question, I wanted to say that back then, the essence of experiential learning is actually what helped me through the hands-on experience outside of the classroom that I had as a student back then. It helped me in my job, and it helped me develop really fast in my job as well, and it actually shaped who I am till today. So it's very, very important. Going to your question, of course, absolutely, experiential learning is the essence of how social enterprises are developed, because as you know, a social enterprise is a business that addresses a social or an environmental problem through innovative ways and in a sustainable way as well. So experiential learning is conducted for students to engage in social enterprises for several reasons. First, it gives them the opportunity to work on real-world problems. They learn as well how to be civic-minded and develop empathy and awareness, and that's because there's a lot of reflection and observation that happens when they're working in a social enterprise, and that's actually the core of experiential learning, going through the whole experiential learning or Kolb's learning cycle, which is with the reflection and the thinking and then acting and experimenting, of course, and so on. The life skills that are being developed, and more importantly, the entrepreneurial mindset, which is not just learning how to establish a business or manage a business, but more learning how to become agile, how to be resourceful, how to think innovatively, and when you work or you tackle social problems in a sustainable way, and not only a sustainable way, but also in a scalable manner. Finally, working in a social enterprise, they get to network and collaborate with diverse stakeholders, because you're not only collaborating with people in the enterprise itself or in the industry that the business is in, but you get to collaborate with communities as well that the enterprise is tackling. Therefore, experiential learning does nurture this transformational experience when they engage with the social enterprises.
Thank you, Heba. And finally, in that segment, going back to moving from social enterprise to corporate, and I know Nestle is very active when it comes to experiential learning, and really the learning and development program that it sets for its new hires. So we have Isra.
Hello, Dr. Ahmed, thank you. So basically, I echo everyone that there is a big evolvement when it comes to the job market, and there is a lot of trends happening around. So basically, it becomes a mandate for the students that they should have the basic knowledge before joining any entity. So what we're doing, we're trying to offer a diversified opportunities or programs to support them to be ready. And by programs, it means that they should join the organization for at least 1 month. And to make sure that there is always a chance for them to grow, we're always focused to offer things that other than the program. So if they don't have a chance to join the organization as an intern or a graduate or anything, we're offering like a learning opportunity similar to the program we just launched with L'Oreal, which is called XL, and we're always keen to collaborate with the Career Center. So basically, we will have like an actual number of students joining us. What we're doing this as a kind of paying back to the community and to supporting the youth, and also to make them ready for the job market. It's kind of allowing them to be ready for the market, and on the other hand, to develop their skills. And also, we're offering like a diversified things when it comes to like actual learning. We're running a lot of sessions in the university to allow them to understand the structure within the organization, how it looks like to be part of a big corporate. And we're offering them like trainings if they want to launch their own business, kind of like developing entrepreneurship skills and other stuff. So basically, it's kind of having a full bundle of activities for the students, and we're always keen that the Career Center will deliver those opportunities for the students, so they will be a part of it. That's it.
Thank you very much, Isra. So we've heard about the different forms of experiential learning, the students' experiences, what I think is very, very important. The social enterprise and corporate now, moving to the fancier stuff now, which some are mentioned, which is AI and digital transformation. So how that works with experiential learning, and how does the market see the importance of experiential learning given the whole era of AI? So let us start with Hassan first.
Sorry, I have a loud voice already. So basically, AI as a threat is when we don't change. I recall Dr. Sharif's point. It's our willingness to change. And AI is disrupting the workforce already. We in PwC eTech, as the technology powerhouse of PwC, we are disrupting workforce all the time. So we're building AI agents that are changing the way accounting is being done, the way audits are being done. And if the academia doesn't understand the disruption that is happening on the industry side, your curriculum will remain the same. Do you still want to teach your accountants the same skills they are currently being taught? Or it's less relevant now. There are things that they should be more focused on. So this connection needs to happen. We need to change. We're changing as a service company. We're not delivering the same services we used to do. I'm not delivering the same service I used to do 25 years ago. So that's key. Change, willingness to change is key. The other part is AI as an opportunity. It's full of opportunity. We're talking about curriculum alignment. AI can be used to build better curriculum. I'm actually teaching a course here in the AUC in the cybersecurity diploma, and I've been doing cybersecurity for 25 years, and I've taught before, but I thought about asking AI about what else should be there, what sort of experiential learning should be there for today's world, and it gave me new ideas that I'll use hopefully for the benefit of the people here. AI can be used to advise students, career exploration, find other opportunities. By day, I am the cybersecurity tower lead. You'd think that I hire hackers, techies, engineers, computer science, but I tell you that in my team, I have business majors, I have political science major, I even have a psychology major in the team. So advising based on your skills, what sort of options do you have, is something that can happen. Lots of opportunities in AI. It can take forever to talk about it. But the key is we should understand that disruption is already there and it's moving at a very fast pace, and we should move at the same pace. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Hassan. And I totally agree that instead of resisting this AI, actually is embracing AI. And I think we're getting that. And moving on to my dear colleague, Mu'taz Al-Hilali, who is very active in this area in his teaching and introducing new courses and methodologies. So I'd like to hear from Mu'taz.
Thank you, Dr. Ahmed. I'm lucky Mr. Hassan is sitting beside me. I will draw a couple of examples based on what he said. So first of all, when we talk about the future proofing of business schools, I think we have to be very careful about two issues. The first issue is that even if we provide them with necessary AI literacy, then we need to be aware that the tools themselves, the AI tools themselves, are going to change. Now we can imagine how the world just changed since the emergence of generative AI, so we can imagine how fast the tools themselves that rely on generative AI will develop fast, and they would become obsolete much more quicker than things used to get obsolete before. And the second thing is that since AI is expected to be in the hands of more graduates and more members of the workforce, then this is not going to be the game changer, I think, in the future. The core skills, the core analytical thinking, critical thinking, reasoning and decision making, and maintaining a sound ethical framework in every aspect of decision making in the workplace is going to be the game changer, is going to be the skills that open real opportunities for people. So a lot of the respective participants have talked a lot about the approaches to experiential learning that would enhance this. I would say we have to focus on methodologies and teaching strategies that maintain and develop the critical thinking, analytical thinking mindset. We have a lot of examples to talk about here. So we have integrating AI tools in courses, but with developing the mindset that the student can adapt to the change in those tools, can respond to the changes, and focus on the business side of what actually this tool can help, which problem it can solve. We can rely on guest speakers. We can rely on guest speakers like Mr. Hassan can come to my class and explain how agents are used in fraud detection, in financial reporting, and so on and so forth. Also, very important, I think now we can develop things like virtual reality job shadowing for the students, so that they can actually, instead of having to physically go to an internship once a year for a month, that we can start to try to think about this using industry partnership. And of course, there are so many others. My colleague Dina Abdel Fattah mentioned some, and Ms. Samar mentioned others, so I wouldn't want to repeat them again, but those are my thoughts. Thank you.
Thank you, Mu'taz. Ronnie, You're working with gaming, and that's definitely digital-based. And so I'd like to hear your reflections on how AI and digital transformation actually is changing the whole learning gaming scape.
I think we use gaming as a tool the same way that people are using AI as a tool to learn. I think that regardless to gaming, there's an intentionality with teaching that we all have to have within the classroom. I lecture at DePaul, formerly at University of Chicago, and I think that, you know, I talk to professors every day, and I also talk to industry leaders every day. And the teachers who I speak with are more intentional about the classroom. They're dressing up as superheroes. They're talking to their students. They're bringing in a variety of experiences into the classroom, whether to ensure that the students are communicating, ensure that students are working in teams, to make sure they're learning and that they're very engaged. And I think they're using AI as a tool with that. But I agree with Moatz. It is, you can teach someone how to do a job, but you cannot teach them how to think. And I think that that intentionality within the classroom is so very, very important. I heard a lot about students doing a lot of things on their own. You know, they're doing the co-ops, but those are things that they gather. The school offers them an opportunity, but the students are actually doing that work. So I am going to say something that could possibly get me kicked out of the entire room. But what if we start looking at professors the same way we look at students, and we give professors the opportunity to have these internships, so they're learning along with what they should be, the speed of light. So they're learning what the students should be learning, and you give them the same level of co-op, same level of 2-week, 3-week, 4-week experience, so that when they're teaching in the classroom, that intentionality takes it from theory to actual work. And it's the work that they're actually doing inside the classroom, the work that they will be doing within the workforce. And so I encourage all of us to, as we do at Red Flag Mania, think outside the box. Speakers, virtual learning, simulations, some of those becomes table stakes. It's how are you conveying this information to the people who need it most so that they are ready for the workforce. Thank you.
Thank you, Ronnie. And actually, industry sabbaticals actually are there in some institutions where faculty actually leave for some time and actually go getting the practical experience to supplement their academic training. So I totally agree with that. That's actually a great idea. Moving to my very close friend, Nabil Diab, who is in a position that actually could reflect on both academia and practice, given that he teaches with us here in the school, at the UC School of Business, that also is a leader in his field. So I'd like to hear from Nabil.
Thanks, Dr. Ahmed. I think it's very interesting topic and very appealing as well, how to use artificial intelligence and in what we do in academia, and how to make the linkage and bridge the gap between the business and the academia, and what we teach the students in the class, and how we want to see them when they come to workplace. I see the two sides. I'm lucky to do that because I see what we do in the class and how the students think, and also what we are looking for a student to do. We as a firm, for example, in BWC, one of the most important skills is how to solve problems, because we are a firm, we are in consulting, who are helping clients to solve important problems and add value and build the trust. So students, they have to learn those skills. It's more about soft skills that they need to acquire throughout experiential learning, throughout their journey in the university, in the teaching. It's not about knowledge anymore. I think it's more about how to use knowledge to find solutions, and how to apply this knowledge that they acquire in the class, and to find solutions and help a client to find solutions and advice. And in the era of artificial intelligence, when it's very easy to go and ask for something and to get a response, I don't think this is not what we look for. This is not enough. It's not enough to get some information. It's about the decision making, how to utilize this information that we get from the artificial intelligence to apply it and to design it for a client situation and to help resolving a problem. or solving a problem. So this very, very important to start, having artificial intelligence as a friend, use them more, use them ethically, and I think experiential learning will teach students how to use AI ethically and understand the societal impact of artificial intelligence on the society and on the environment around them. It's very important. It's not just to go and get information, that's it, but how to use it as well. And the artificial intelligence is shaping up globally, and things are changing. I know that now ChatGPT is an old fashioned now. It's not anymore what we look for. It's 1 year or 2 years designed program, but there are more coming. And as you're all aware, what's going on in the world, and hopefully we can catch up with all of that, and bring this experience to our students in the class.
Thank you very much, Nabil. Shifting to a totally different industry, focusing on supply chains. So we'd like to hear from Muhammad from Amazon.
Thank you so much. So I want to take a moment to appreciate the moment that I'm participating in that event. So I want to start off with like why it's very important for Amazon to commitment of future leaders in especially in our community and our region as well. So we focus on that commitment through a program we call Transcend, and it helps us to bridge the gap between the academic life that these future leaders are getting through their universities and colleges, and as well as for us an opportunity to learn what is coming next. What do leaders would like to be treated with in the future? How do they like to operate? How can we keep improving year over year across our like programs, how we operate in each geography we operate in? So we have that Transcend program that we launched in the region, and it helps the future leaders or the future graduates to understand real business cases from the real business, and we help them through how they can prepare to that and provide new souls. And for me, it's a very personal, like heart-close topic, because it's very like enriching to see future leaders thinking out of the box with basic stuff. So we have that say in Amazon that stay back to basics, always refer to basics. And it's very good, the questions we get from the undergrads or the future leaders, why is that being done like that? Why do you need to do that like in that way? So it helps a lot for the future leaders as well for us to understand what can we do better for them. And when I look at future leaders, there is 3 main skills we as at Amazon look at. And we don't look at like tech skills or like technical skills as more of people leadership. And how do you act as a leader in conflict, in challenging times? And we are operating in a very challenging emerging market across the region, where it's very needed to understand the people aspect of things and the culture aspect of things, where both of them will help you to integrate with the tech part. So tech and AI are tools that helps improve and helps us to do things better. I was telling to one of my leaders who just graduated, and that the purpose of AI tools is not to challenge them to be better than them. That's not the purpose. AI tools help you to make faster decisions, more efficient decisions, and more cautious. It's tie in line with your business case. So that's pretty much of it from my side. I was very keen to attend that event, and I really appreciate what you're focusing on in the university from professors on bridging that gap between the academic life and the professional life. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Muhammad. So moving to the last segment, so we looked at the different forms of experiential learning, and from the faculty, from the students, from the employer perspective, we moved to AI and digital transformation and its relationship with experiential learning. Now to the future. How can all of this actually future-proof our graduates of business schools? So let me start with my close friend, Walid Tail.
First, I'd like to thank you, Dr. Ahmed, very much, and thank you for calling me close friend, because you're really a very close friend to me. So I'm representing the Sweden Electric. We used over the last 5 years to hire more than 1,000 early talent. We call early talent fresh graduate, or people who are less than 28 years old. So these 1,000 people that we hire every year over the last 5 years give us the opportunity to look really into the common traits between these students or these graduates. We usually sit with these people every month. We ask them to meet our CEO, our leadership team. And from the observation and diagnosis, we usually look into some common traits between them. And these traits, most of the time, they are around 5 or 6 traits that we really know, and we try to manage them. Each trait has an advantage and disadvantage. So starting by, for example, being a purpose-driven people, most of them, they look into the purpose of the organization from day one. They ask these questions in the induction. This is a good thing, but the opposite or the other side is that they work like judges. They come to the organization to judge the organization, to audit on the organization, not to work from day one. So you are a good organization or not, this is from the eye of the fresh graduate. The second trait is they are advocates for the new or for the fancy concepts, like the safety and environment. This is a good concept. But being an advocate for HSE, for diversity and inclusion, for equality, and again, looking into these concepts without having the real values of being persistent, perseverant students who are really keen to do the change in the organization. The third main trait is about the one that we all know about being a tech-savvy people. They are really very fast in communication and collaboration. Everything is done online. They are very extremely dependent on the online and the technology. And this is really missing, or they lack a lot of their interpersonal skills and the face-to-face communication. The fourth trait out of the 6th trait is that they are really very quick learners. They are very fast. They are flexible in the career shift. But at the same time, they get bored very easily. The attention and the span of attention is very low. It's very difficult to have someone who is really keen to build his depth in experience and knowledge. And this is, most of them, they lack the substance of being a unique person or human, unique person or someone that he has a substance or personality that is really attractive. The trait number 5 is about the entrepreneurial spirit that they have. They all, as you said, they take Steve Jobs or Elon Musk as their leader or their model, and they all think that the wealth can be done in just overnight. They don't have this feeling that they need to build their discipline and being really building their personality and experience over the time. The last one is about that all of them are really highly educated. They are really very well informed, and I'm specifying the word informed, and then they think that by being informed about all the topics, they understand everything in the business, and they are as well looking into promotion within 1 month or 2 months or maximum 1 year. He usually looks into, I don't earn it, but I'm entitled for it because I'm coming from a business school that is really famous. Yeah. So this is my point of view about the traits. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Waleed. Like any other institution that wants to really support its students, it needs the infrastructure to do so. And we want to hear from our Career Center.
So thank you very much, Dr. Ahmed, for this opportunity. So at the Career Center, we really believe in the importance of experiential learning. We've all heard how important it is from an industry perspective and from an academic perspective, from a student perspective. Very proud of our students. And so we offer opportunities for students to experience through, to learn by doing through experience, but not only through experience, but also through discovery and exploration. And for that, we have 3 key pillars to experiential learning opportunities. We have a snapshot of them here in front of you. You can take a look at them if you'd like to follow. So our first pillar is the pillar of career focus, and this is where we help students to start identifying career options. So many times students come out of high school with little to no knowledge about what careers are out there for them, what the careers are called, what are the tracks they can take. And so our first pillar for the career focus programs is the job shadowing program, where students get to shadow professionals for a day in various industries, various careers, and start to be able to understand what's out there for them. Our second program under this pillar is the Externships program, and this is our most recent addition. And this bridges the gap between the job shadowing programs and the internship programs. This is a 1 to 2 week opportunity for students to shadow professionals, but also get assigned some minor duties at employers, which helps them understand more about the field, get a bit more industry knowledge, and get a little bit more insight before they commit to an internship or commit to a more longer duration. Our second pillar is the career readiness pillar, and this is, we've heard a lot about the skills, and so here we work on ensuring that students have the opportunity to develop the skills that help them not just land their first job, but also navigate their careers and their career transitions later on as well. And so here we have a range of opportunities for students. We have the work-study program where students get the opportunity to work on campus in different offices and departments and gain some transferable skills while they're on campus. And then we have a couple of programs that are implemented in class. The first being the practical learning program. And interestingly, Kelly, the first time this was run was in an accounting class, and it was a student idea who was taking a case in class that was theoretical, and they wanted to learn what it would be like in real life. And so we worked with an industry partner to come in and deliver this. And this is based on cases, simulations, and it's a partnership with the faculty member and employer to bring the actual experience in the class. In addition to in-class talks where professionals come not just to talk about what they do, but also about the applications in real life of what they do. We also work with employers like Amazon on global competitions, employer-branded competitions that give students the opportunity to showcase and learn skills and learn directly from their mentors at employers. But also we've launched in 2022 an upskilling program to bridge the skills gap, where employers offer students the opportunity to get upskilled on skills that they need in the workplace that they're not currently learning in their university. And finally, our last pillar is employability. And under that, we have our flagship internship program, where we offer students over 1,700 opportunities for internships for structured internships from 1 to 3 months. And finally, the co-op program, which we partner with the School of Business on as well. And that's last definitely but not least. And we've learned and heard how that really complements the students' employability as well. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Lydia. So moving to a very different industry and very different sector, public relations. And experiential learning really plays an important role in fine-tuning these skills that are sometimes actually difficult to teach in the classroom. I'd like to hear from Dina on that.
First, let me thank you, Dr. Ahmed, for inviting me to this really interesting and impressive roundtable. I agree with you. Actually, I prefer to call it now communication rather than just public relation. Even our company is called Mount Communication, and it is a very misunderstood sector. People don't understand it, mainly students take it as part of the marketing course. They take it in IMC, MCG. Nevertheless, it's the boring part of the marketing course, because marketing advertising is very clear, understood. Communication is these 3 to 4 tactics that you do and technical skills that you learn, and that's it. So our actual experience with the experiential learning started with us being guest speakers in a number of clubs and panels and classes. And this is where we found that the students attending started to have their eyes actually lit when we started to speak about the actual work that we do. And they said, I remember one of the professors in a business school invited in marketing, invited the whole class, there are around 16 students, came to our agency, sat, and we told them what we do. We just talk about different case studies, and 8 of them submitted their CVs for internship after the class, and we actually took almost 6 of them. So it's very important for people to understand and students to understand communication is to practice. It is important to know the technicalities, but the practice is very different, especially that we work cross sectors, energy, FMCGs, entertainment, and the awareness of what communication is, crisis management, having hands-on on crisis management, reaching different stakeholders, whether it's the government, because part of the communication is targeting the government, the business community, your end consumer with the right messages. All this they learn hands-on with close mentoring from our directors and account managers. But moreover, what we have learned from dealing with a lot of interns, and a lot of, actually, some of them became employees later on, is that it's not only the technical information that they enjoy or that they get to learn differently from the classroom, but actually the organizational structure and the hierarchy of decision making, which we find very difficult with Gen Z. That, as you have said, I agree with a lot of what you have said. They are very knowledgeable, they're creative, they have a lot of information, access to easy access of information, and they're resourceful and agile, yet they do not respect experience, and they believe they kind of know a lot of things. So we have an equal say to your manager or director, because I believe I'm entitled to say my opinion. And this is taking us some time, that you have to prove it over and over again. And actually, we expose our interns to CEOs. They attend the trainings, they attend the meetings, and accordingly, they just start to pitch in their opinion. And even when you try to okay, we got it, but we need to move on, they insist they have this entitlement, and that's what they learn on the job, by practice, by telling them directly that there's a learning process before being able to address a CEO or address a director with your opinion. But I mean, it's been a great opportunity dealing with the School of Business and with other, actually, majors, and we're very happy to be here and looking forward to continuing with this experiential learning and future-proofing. Thank you.
Thank you, Dina, and I totally agree that sometimes fine-tuning just the attitude and character of students at that young age, I think, is extremely important and pays off later on. So experiential learning is not just confined to private sector, but also to the governmental entities. And I'd like to hear from Abdelaziz also, who leads a major training arm of the central bank.
Thank you, Dr. Ahmed, for the kind invitation. I'm very happy to be with you today. Actually, we're a professional training institute, therefore experiential learning is not a luxury for us, it's a must. This is the only way we do business. I'm quite happy that the word competency has been mentioned a couple of times, and actually this is how we design the training, and this is how we deliver the training as well. In addition, that this is how we assess the impact. The idea behind the experiential learning, actually we have a number of applications. We have the internship, the simulation, the case studies, the project, the field visits. But actually the thing that I would like to highlight and put much emphasis on is the study tour. And this is something that EBI provides by taking the bankers, the Egyptian bankers, to visit their peers elsewhere in the universe, in the globe, so that they meet exactly the people who does exactly the same job, and learn from them how they do the job, what the obstacles they are facing, and how to fix them. This is something that we believe that adds real value to the way that people do business, because as you know, competency means experience, knowledge, skills, attitude, and aptitude. And therefore, it gives us a very clear roadmap to assess the impact of the training that we provide. And usually when we talk about the AI and how people can engage in more tech-enabled training intervention, actually the way we do it is completely the other way around. By designing a training experience in which technology is not even there. Let me give you an example. A bank was trying to establish a new intervention to engage their employees to move to their new premises in the new capital, in the new administrative capital. And we worked with the engineering department to get a demo, like a model of the new building that they're moving to. And we conducted a training intervention in which almost 2,000 employees worked without technology, just building this new model with something like a Lego, so that we can engage the management, the top management, as well as the employees. But usually, the way we do it is to enable more technology. Actually, the way we did it is to eliminate the impact of technology at all, and make it a 100% experiential learning experience. This was a very unique experience, and actually we're trying to expand in such type of training delivery so that we can have people more engaged. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. So we can't talk about experiential learning and not talk about responsible leadership or leadership in general. So I'd like to hear from Hazem, from CEO of Erasmus Development.
Thank you, Dr. Ahmed. It is quite an honor to be here in the university where I graduated from. And I'm very happy to see the AUC very keen to check and discuss the new ways of learning. And I will talk here as a father before being a professional and as a son. So if I ask the people around here, do you know the 27 to the power of 2? What is the answer of 27 to the power of 2? We can get the answer in 10 seconds by using the calculator on our mobile, which is 729. But if I used the mobile in front of my father, he will be quite angry. How come, Hazem, you're not able to do it with mental math? I'm telling this story because last week I had a similar story with my son, who was in his mid-year vacation. He was requested by the school to, he is 13 years old, by the way. He was requested by the school to read quite a long novel, summarize it, and do a presentation using PowerPoint on it. He spent the 2 weeks playing. Just 24 hours before the deadline, he went to ChatGPT, got a summary, used one of the beautiful AI tools, did a presentation, much more impactful than any other peer of him who would have read it and worked on it by himself. Now the question is, should we embrace this change or the opposite? And the point here is, I believe that moving into the future, the technical mastery and the access to knowledge will be quite different. Yes, it is very important that people should be learning the fundamentals. It is very important they practice it through simulation, like what Dina said, that teaching is takes place in class, but learning takes place outside the class. But one thing that is very important, and I think it is the one thing that AI and all other tools will not be able to replace, is character. So like Amina, I started my career in Procter & Gamble, but many years before you. And in P&G, we never interviewed people based on technical mastery. It is 100% about character. Like what Walid said, it is about the traits. So it is about leadership. It is about accountability. It is about embracing change. It is about delivering despite the challenges. It is about the ability to learn. It is about working with others. These are things that AI will not be able to substitute. And these are the things that I would really like AUC to be in the leading front on how we can embrace this, because I've met many people very successful throughout my career, and I do not recall anyone who was very successful just because of his technical knowledge. It has always been about the character. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you very much, Hazem. Another industry, telecommunications, Vodafone. I would like to hear from Duat Tamam.
Thank you, Dr. Ahmed, very much, and thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to speak about one of the closest to my heart topic. When I entered campus today, actually, I met one of the students that I worked with on a project a couple of years back, and he greeted me so warmly and said, I actually remember the program that I was in because I actually had an impact there, and my project is still working. I'm still in contact with some of the managers that I've worked with, and my project is actually live. So he was super excited that his work was actually, an organization was working on it, and they're actually still using it. So, which brings me to the topic that I want to discuss is how can these programs help students make them ready for the workplace? So I would say that what would make them ready for the workplace is practical experience. So most of the projects that, or the programs that the students actually enter, and they actually have real life tasks, responsibilities, they have ownership on the tasks that they do. These are the actually programs that succeed, and later on when we hire them, we realize that these students already, they bridge the gap already because they've already had real life experience. They have dealt in situations where they've dealt with leadership. They've already presented their ideas. They're integrated within the organization. So I think this, what makes any experiential program work is basically the accountability that we give these interns or these students from day one. At Vodafone, we have different programs that we're currently working on, and we actually started before university. So we have a program called Code Like a Girl, which is a program that we start for girls 14 to 18 years, which is practically before they enter university, and we teach them coding from scratch. And then later on, these girls, they go into universities, and then they join programs, whether it's the co-op, it's the summer internship, it's the winter internship, and so on. And then later on, they join the organization. So kind of connecting the dots between all the programs. So to highlight to summarize what I'm saying is accountability, because Gen Z normally, they like accountability, and they have a lot of ideas. And most of these ideas are ideas most of us would not even think of. So thank you.
Thank you very much, Dua. And Waleed. So Waleed, another graduate of the Unsuriya School of Business, very proud of, who was engaged in many activities and associations, whether at school here and on campus, and then went and established his own startup. I'd like to hear from Waleed on your reflection also on experiential learning and how did it help you in your career?
Sure. I'm ending today, so many of my thoughts has been already tackled, but what I can share is assurance and maybe the formula that I have in mind to keep producing leaders who have great exposure to experiential learning. So I would just only cite my last semester in AUC, where I started it off in Greece on a study tour with the business school, went back, flew to Canada for an international competition where I had to learn about cases about defense, aviation, and tech industries just in 1 month of training. Went back again here to finish my graduation course, working on a real-life case on one of the Egyptian companies, tackle a real-life problem. Finished my CFA level 1 and made my own co-op program back then because it wasn't established yet. So I was a part-time private equity analyst. Attended few workshops to find out about what I want to do in my career with the Career Center and consulting and different domains. And all of this hand in hand, being 2 years into my fintech company that I established as a junior while being in university. So I guess opportunities are there since day one here in AUC, and opportunities are always around if you want to make it. But the key thing that I guess that we need to pass on to newer generations or younger professionals is the character, as Mr. Hazm just said, and many people just tackled. It's the character. And I guess here at AUC, if we focus more on equipping the people with the skills, which has longer shelf life, as Dr. Ahmed just mentioned. So I guess the mentality here is the key. So how I approached all of this, or how I reflect on all of this, is that this is really the only time of my life that I would be doing all of that with a risk-free environment. I had nothing to lose. I'm still at my parents' house, no commitments, no career to get assessed on, so why not try everything? And this is a key thing that we should implement in the mentality of the students, that you're here for 4 years or 5 years, you have to operate with a risk-free mindset. Also, you have to be agile, not in a sense of being diverse, not in a sense of being multidisciplinary only, but only to learn how to be different parts of the table or at different parts of the game. So one day you're the manager, one day you're a team player, one day you're the regulator, one day you're a startup, one day you're a corporate. And this enriches the mindset to understand different stakeholders' perspectives, enabling better interpersonal skills, and also giving the agility to navigate such an uncertain world. which is my own experience. When I graduated in 2019, I guess the past 6 years, 6 years has been unprecedented, even for AI to predict. So no one would imagine how to operate a business in this environment, what to do with a career in this environment. This is where agility kicks on. And finally, what I do with the interns or younger people who join our organization, which has an average year of 23 of the people working with us, is that I encourage them. You'll never know what you like, or you'll never know what exactly you should do, but at least try to find out what you dislike, or what is your weakness, or what is you don't enjoy doing. And I think this methodology works very well with Gen Z. So I have very much young employees and part-timers with us, and this sounds very good to them because it helps them solve a simpler question. Rather than finding specifically what they like, I encourage them to think, what do you dislike? And let's take it from there. And that's why I'm always seeking people who are very keen to learn and very keen to experiment and be at different parts of the game, as I was just mentioning.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Walid. Maha, you want to? So Maha is the Associate Dean for Undergraduate Studies and Administration at the school, at the AUC School of Business, and definitely she's very engaged with the different student activities at the school.
Yeah, thank you. You always being the last one is very challenging, but my dean is here to support me, so he just arrived. First of all, I would like to thank you all for this high contribution, and usually we are asking for more. So I will not going to go through what we are doing in experiential learning because I guess we can tackle all of these points, and you saw our students and they give their feedback and so on. But what I want to say is that we cannot do it without the help of the employer. So whatever we know is still limited. The market is extremely dynamic. We need more input from the employers. And to be very specific, we actually need your support in two different terms. This is based on the feedback of the students, based on the feedback of our advisory board, and so on. So the first point is to revisit the internship. Usually, internship, we have a course for internship, and students must have an internship. It's a 0-credit course, but still it's a requirement. But we are receiving a lot of complaints from the students about internship and the benefit of having an internship. So working closely with the employers to design internship and intensive internship where the students can just benefit, that they can just have an impact. Definitely the co-op program is a completely different story because it's 6 months, but how could we together design an internship for 1 or 2 months that could have an impact? This will add a lot of value to our students and will help us to achieve our mission because, as we mentioned today, hand-on experience is an extremely essential part when it comes to experiential learning, and this is exactly what we need. Another initiative that we would like the employers to help us in is to help us in revisiting the courses. So some of the courses need to be revisited by employer who can just not power the course, but participate in teaching, assessing, enhancing the course in a different way, and shaping the course in a way that is exactly needed in the labor market at the moment. So this is extremely important. Like when you discuss the AI in different industries, we need support to tackle the AI in different industry with link to specific courses. So this is another area that we actually need your support in it. Also, we are looking for more competition to be embedded in the courses. So we want it to be a culture within the school itself. It's not only few students participate in competition, but we need as much as we can to make it as an integrated part. So instead of having a regular project in a course, we are looking for having a competition in a course and enhance the skill in different ways as well. The second part also that we are looking for your support is development workshops in general. Now when you start highlighting what you are doing for the employees and so on, I found that most of you have an academy or a way or a training tool within the organization. So if we can just work together in this and have your know-how and how to develop the students, update their skills, whether we are talking here about behavior and attitude skills in general, as you mentioned, or we are talking about technical skills, AI integration, and so on. So actually, we also need your support in this area as well. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Maha. And I think Dean Kamel
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Ma. I just want to mention one thing. And again, I apologize for having to step out and come back. As you can imagine, multiple things are happening at the same time. This we cannot move forward, Maha mentioned, without the engagement of the industry and business, but also without the engagement of the students. So the students take an integral part in all our conversations. So the Council of the School of Business, which is internal to the school, they're part of it, undergraduate and graduate. The advisory board, which is actually external bodies, whether local or international, academic or industry, they also take part. But add to that it's been 10 years now, at least 10 years, maybe 12 years, where we hold twice a year something we call top employer meeting, which is basically the top employers of our students would come for a couple of hours to exchange ideas, have a look at our curriculum, and feedback their suggestions as you move forward. Obviously, the reason why I'm saying that, we'll come back to you more and more, because with the rate of disruption, the rate of change, maybe we need to do that much often. I have to admit and confess that the feedback that comes our way is extremely important. When we start feeding it, and I'm sure this was covered during the conversation, when we feed it into our system as an academic institution, it is much slower. But it has to be in the pipeline. Being slow does not mean that we should stop doing that. So again, I just wanted to iterate that industry and students have an invaluable part in us always trying to close the gap and provide the most rich possible experiential learning opportunity for our students. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dean Kamel. And now my colleague Maha Muslimani, which definitely I do not envy her to summarize all what was said because it's very rich. So Maha will try to just give a she has been taking notes. So Maha will deliver the closing remarks. Thank you, Maha.
Thank you, Dr. Ahmed. And let me start off by thanking you all for your very rich contributions to today's discussion. When Dr. Ahmed first approached me to co-chair a roundtable on experiential learning with him, I was not just excited about the topic. I actually started my very first role at AUC, and within my profession, my very first role as a career educator as an experiential learning officer back in 2006. So back then, almost 20 years ago, we were struggling with pitching the idea of job shadowing to employers and having them give us the confidence to have our students spend a day at their premises or more without violating any confidentiality matters. We were also helping top employers structure their internship programs because our students wouldn't go just to photocopy papers or just become an extended helping hand for our students. So just bringing this type of education to the job market was on our shoulders. To change this as part of the AUC mindset, bringing and expanding on different types of experiential learning tools across the years until what you're witnessing today, and it will never stop here. With the fast pace of tech disruption, it will never stop here. It's always evolving. So again, fast forward 19, 20 years, we're all here in one room agreeing that experiential learning is the way forward when it comes to bridging a gap between academia and the world of work. It's not just that, it's also the more sustainable solution to help us become more relevant and timely, as Dean Kamel has mentioned. We don't want to continue to practice, to preach. We want to bring the students the opportunity to practice what we preach. We want to give them this access to solve real life opportunities. Their style is different. They're impatient. They're not us when we were their age. They demand more, and they're eager for more, and they're also ready for more. I think Kelly took us through an engaging experience ourselves, and a highlight of today's roundtable is engagement. How can we engage our students, and how can we continue to engage our employees in the workplace so they do not go into the job hopping phase. They're not job hopping because they're entitled. They're job hopping because they're eager for more. They want to learn. They want to grab what they can get out of the different types of experiences. So they appear to us as entitled and picky and all the labels we can put on another generation called Gen Zs, but in reality, they have what it takes. They just need guidance. They're just energy that is out there that needs more guidance, and I believe our responsibility is clear. Samar mentioned a lot about the skills gap and how analytical thinking is topping the charts when it comes to an actual skill. And Ronnie echoed that when she said, we can't really teach anybody how to think. So this is how the future generations are going to drive change forward. And here it's not about just change, it's also about us embracing the rate and the pace of change. AI is just one factor, but the pace is immense. And how are we evolving to meet this type of change? By design, this roundtable was divided into 3 key topics. So let's zoom in together very briefly on each topic and look at the key takeaways out of each significant, valuable group that contributed to these 3 topics. We started off with the forms and trends of experiential learning, and we've heard it from our recent grads, how experiential learning helped them in this life transition. It's amazing how experiential learning equips you to adapt and to really see this opportunity as an eye-opener for what the future has to hold for you. So that you're basically managing your own expectations. There's nothing that would come just to surprise you, but you're more ready, and this is how we future-proof our graduates. It's also a chance for our graduates to boost their confidence. So when they meet with employers, they know what they're talking about, and they also know how to showcase it professionally. So they don't come across as arrogant or opinionated or things of that sort. They really do this transition and become the best version of their professional selves. We did not only discuss experiential learning inside the classroom, a lot of examples echoed co-curricular, and I agree with Amina. They're not extra. They're not extracurricular anymore. They're co-curricular. They're embedded into the entire experience. It's what prepares our graduates for the future. I'm out of breath. The long-lasting impact of experiential learning continues across the years. So it's about the first job. It's not just about the first life transition. It's an ongoing mechanism to future-proof our graduates, because after years and years, it's still there and it's still evident. And it's really what prepares us to continue our professional journeys. A key theme was highlighted several times about upskilling and the value of bringing the workforces to become ahead of their games through the continuous growth and development, not just the regular training programs, but maybe the gamifications, the virtual reality, and bringing aspects closer to them that would help them be really up to what the world has to offer them and what awaits them. AI, the hot topic, was our second topic for today. And Samar has mentioned that it's not that the region or Egypt is away from adopting AI. On the contrary, the percentages are increasing of the CEOs who are willing to adopt AI into their workspaces if they haven't already. And our students are actually there. They're digitally native. They're comfortable with AI, but can they assess its limitations? Can they know how can they surpass the limitations of AI and outperform? Not because it's a challenge, but because it's an opportunity rather than a threat. An example that was mentioned by Muhammad about Transcend is also an opportunity for our students to apply their theoretical learning in supply chain using the dynamics of AI. And we actually have two winners out of the 3 top winners were AUC student groups. So this was worth mentioning, but in all cases, these are the opportunities that come along with AI. It's not about just being given the real life scenario or the real life challenge without being equipped with the right tools. It's how these tools could work for their favor in presenting more efficient and more realistic solutions to today's challenges. And last but not least, on the piece of career readiness and future-proofing our graduates, the word competency was embedded in your discussions. We are working as a university to decrease the skill gap, but are we creating competent graduates? Are they competent enough? As Walid has mentioned, a lot of the traits are double-edged. You see the positives and immediately you see the downside of these character traits. So are we really giving them the right tools to become competent? Are we really competencies inside the classroom at an early stage so that they know what kind of course they're signing up for? What are they benefiting out of the course? Another key aspect that was mentioned as part of future-proofing graduates is the immense access to opportunities. Our students have a choice overload and an information overload from the amount of opportunities they have and that AUC gives them access to. This was not easily accessible when I was their age. Now it's like supply is way more than demand. So are they really embracing these opportunities? Are they really getting this risk-free mindset attitude in place in order to utilize these types of opportunities? Or do we really need to help them do this process of elimination by deciding what they don't like and basically tailoring their own journeys based on what they like? Our responsibility is there. We keep hearing, I think in every discussion, words that start with the 2 letters RE, re-engineer, redesign, reshape, reskill. So we all know the types of responsibilities that we have to redo what we do in so many ways. And I think the future would only avail the opportunities for us to co-design and co-create the type of opportunities, the type of learning experiences that mirror the workplace in a way that really offers our students an AI-integrated experience, hopefully, or a tech-integrated experience that is purpose-driven, that speaks to their purpose, so that the experiences are not just immersive, but they're also transformative, and that's why we're here. Thank you so much for taking all this in such a short piece, and we're very, very happy to have you all with us today. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Maha. Great job in that wrap-up, including remarks. Thank you, Kelly, and thank you, Samar. Thank you to all the participants, and it's always a pleasure to host these events. And thank you, of course, Dean Sharif Kamel. I mean, this idea of the AUC Business Forum was developed 6 years ago, and again, one of many great ideas that come from Dean Kamel. So I'd like to thank him a lot for giving me the opportunity to go back to my home school and host this very impactful roundtable. So thank you very much. And there's, yes, Farida is signaling there's a group photo outside this time. Thank you very much.